So welcome to the Zones 33-34 Public Image AMA session. Ask Me Anything. We have our team of experts here ready to address your questions, concerns, and assist you in any way possible in providing more resources to help you with your public image efforts. My name is Susan Corder. I'm your Rotary Public Image Coordinator for Zone 34, and we also have Billy Black, Public Image Coordinator for Zone 33 there with our Santa hat. Also from 33, we have Assistant Rotary Public Image Coordinator Chris Justice, Taylor Alphin, and Hamilton Holloway. And from Zone 34, we have Caroline Blocklinger, and Sean Patty is in the background manning the show tonight. And as always, our very, very special guest, immediate past Rotary Public Image Coordinator and one of my good friends and mentors, Marshall Butler, on the call tonight. So welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Before we hop into some of the questions, I just want to cover a couple of really quick guidelines for you. Please stay on mute unless you're called upon to ask your question. We just want to try to reduce as much background noise as possible. If you have a question that's kind of a short, simple, where do I find this link or what's the deadline, just a quick response that doesn't require one of us verbalizing the response, just type it in the chat and we will respond in the chat. Our team will get back to you with the links and dates and any other information that might be relevant to your question. If you do have a question that you want to ask our team, which it was why we're here tonight, so please, I encourage you to do that. Just raise your virtual hand by using the reactions button on your toolbar and typing the raise your virtual hand or raise your hand. And that'll not only signal to us that you want to ask a question, but it'll pop you up to the top of the queue so you're not lost in our picture boards there. And just lastly, let's try to stay on topic. Keep your questions relevant to public image so that all of those who are here on the call tonight to benefit from learning and hearing the dialogue on public image related questions and challenges and resources, we can all benefit from information relevant to the topic tonight. If you have other topics you want to learn about or have asked questions on, or if we don't get to your question at the end, or for some reason aren't able to provide you with a detailed answer that you were looking for, we can always take the chat offline, always take the conversation offline and have a follow-up call one-on-one, or our team is always very ready and willing to communicate via email too. So make sure you're communicating with us after the call if there's anything that we didn't get to tonight.
And before we get started, I want to also welcome our current director, Patrick Eakes.
Thank you, Billy. Hi, Patrick, and welcome. Thanks for being here. We're going to send all the tough questions your way. So we didn't tell you that in advance just because we wanted you to show up. So
I've got to go clip my toenails or something. I'm sorry, I can't stay.
You joined the wrong Zoom call, right? No, thank you for being here, and thank you to all of our guests for being here. We just get really excited when we see people, Rotarians and Rotaractors, getting involved and engaged in public image and wanting to really help their club share their Rotary stories. So we appreciate your time here this evening, and we won't take that for granted. We're going to end promptly at 7 o'clock, if not a little before. One last thing before we get started, I want to give a big shout out and a thank you to anyone who submitted artwork for our 33-34 social media artwork competition. The deadline was on November 30th. You can go to our Facebook page and check out all of the really amazing and talented submissions that we have, but thank you for those who participated. We are going to be sending out an announcement about the winner very soon, so keep your eyes out for that. And they will be featured on our Zone social media channels across the board in 2025. With that, one of the questions we asked you when you registered is to pose a comment or question that you want our team to address tonight. So we want to hear your questions, but just to kind of get the dialogue rolling, I'm going to cover some of the questions that were submitted during the registration for this event. And one of the topics we had multiple questions and inquiries on is to touch on the foundational task for the EPIC Award and give just a review of what the monthly tasks are. So if you're on the call tonight and you don't know what the EPIC Award is, you can visit Elevate Rotary Zones 33-34.org and we'll drop that link in the chat. You can go to the citation page, or the Epic Award page and view the award criteria. But essentially, the Epic Award is a prestigious recognition that our Zones 33 and 34 team offers the clubs. We present this award at the end of the year to any club who completes monthly tasks. And the question on the foundational task, I'll touch on quickly. We call January or July, August, and September our foundational task because they are essential to being successful throughout the Rotary year. So by completing those first 3 tasks or foundational tasks, we're setting you up for a successful Rotary year when it comes to public image. July, we have you complete a club audit. In August, we have you complete a club public image plan or update your public image plan. And in September, we want you to submit a content calendar. And understanding that these submissions, especially the plan and the content calendar, will evolve throughout the year as you start to add new projects or programs in your club and come up with other content that you're going to share through social media and other channels. We want you to complete those foundational tasks in order to qualify for the highest level of this award. And if you don't complete them by the deadline, which has passed, we do have other tasks throughout the year and other levels of the award that you can still earn. So if you didn't complete those foundational tasks, you can still start now and complete tasks and earn a different level of the award. So don't think just because you didn't get started right off the bat that you're missing out. But it really, we make those a requirement for clubs because it doesn't do your club and your public image team any benefit to complete a public image plan in April when you only have a couple months left in the Rotary year. So that's why we have those foundational and required tasks. The tasks online on that website do have deadlines. So we want you to, we structured this award so we could continue to have clubs doing some sort of action each month. So it sort of keeps you on track where you're not just jumping off in July and having a great start. And then by the time November comes along or December comes along, you've kind of worn out your public image plan and moved on to something else. So these monthly tasks really are here to naturally help guide you and help your club continue to perform public image actions throughout the year. We have a couple of things we'll wrap up at the end of the meeting that touch on more specifically what the tasks are and the deadlines. So I'm not going to spend any more time on that. But if you have questions again on the Epic Award, feel free to raise your hand and or place them in the chat. So another question that came up was with regards to social media and club Facebooks and websites. And the question was, how are other clubs making use of social media platforms other than Facebook and websites? And the way it's going to work tonight is we're going to have you ask the question. So I'm asking this question and our team members are just going to respond. So if anyone wants to jump in and kind of talk about other than Facebook and websites, what are clubs using to promote themselves?
We talked about this a little bit before we came on the air, and Caroline and Hamilton are going to back me up. But first of all, you need to consider who your audience is and what your bandwidth is. You might only have enough time and effort for one channel, so pick that channel appropriately. And Colleen, do you want to go from there?
Yeah,
Caroline, sorry.
the most popular version is probably Facebook and Instagram, and it's very simple to combine that. It doesn't matter if you have duplicate posts out there. What I found in the region here is very successful or has been successfully used was putting out pictures of the meeting of the, who was the speaker at the meeting, and encourage everybody to be friends on Facebook. I think probably Facebook and Instagram is the most popular. The website is, remember, the website is your one thing that belongs to you, where your message is, where your club comes out there, whereas the social media is, you're not in control of the message really. So you can also go on X. There probably are not that many clubs on X. Again, as Billy said, it depends on your audience and who you're talking to. What do you think about that, Hamilton?
Yeah, I would say one of the things you can do, and this is where part of going through the process with the Epic Award during the year is the first part is you're doing an audit on what social media your club is or isn't on now and why you're on there. So part of that going through that process helps you discern what social media platforms you should or want to be on. And part of that is thinking about who you want to target. So if you are using it to mainly communicate with your fellow Rotarians. It may be Facebook or it may be LinkedIn or something like that. If you're looking to bring in new members, for instance, and particularly if you want to bring in maybe new members who want to be active in the community and things like that, you may want to be more on Instagram because it's typically trends a younger audience on there. Now, if you do sell stuff on Facebook Marketplace, you can hit the younger people there because that's the only reason they go on Facebook these days. But aside from that, if you're trying to use it for membership, then think about something like Instagram where you're showing people of action, right? Because people want to see what's going on. Why do I want to be involved in this club? What's the important part of being involved in this club? If you're using it for membership, trying to draw people in. If you're using it to communicate again with your own members, then that's a great way to audit your club and say, what social media platforms are we on in our club? And do we want to use this as one of our avenues to communicate with one another?
I think that's very well said. And if you're not sure about using a platform, we do have some trainings in our webinar archives on specific platforms. So if you want to learn a little bit more about that, you can visit our webinar archive and learn more about LinkedIn or Facebook or communicating across those channels, and that might be helpful.
Yeah, and Sean put in the chat area about some of the social media channel controllers, such as Hootsuite or something like that. For instance, for Facebook and Instagram, Meta has a calendar you can use to post on both channels, so you're not having to go to each one and post separately. Hootsuite covers pretty much the gamut, so you can do the post all on within, say, Hootsuite, and there's a couple other platforms like that out there, and there's free versions of that you can use where it makes it easier to post on multiple platforms without having to go into each different one, and it makes it easier as a club to be able to manage that so that you can manage control of who goes into Hootsuite, for instance, and is able to post and keep up with the program. So
excellent. And I would just, if you're thinking about adding a new platform to your club, look at your members and see who might be able to manage that, because you don't want to add platforms and not have the bandwidth to continue to stay active on them. But it also, in addition to that, presents an opportunity for a member to learn how to use a new platform. You don't have to be a social media expert to get involved with the public image team. And I've seen many clubs who have members that have never had a Facebook account or a LinkedIn account, and they stepped up when their club was looking at doing it and learned how to use the platform successfully, went through some trainings and sort of self-taught them on how to do that. So there might be some opportunities in your club for you to investigate involving other members as well.
And in order not to be overwhelmed by the social media thing that you say, oh my God, this is something that I need to do, make a schedule. You can schedule most of the posts by four weeks ahead of time. So that makes it much easier. Plus, make sure that you get everybody in your club engaged, because maybe this month somebody does it and maybe another month somebody else does it. So you don't experience any burnout by trying to stay on top of things.
Chris, did you have a comment?
Yeah, we have a question in chat about Rotary clubs having a YouTube channel for videos or podcasts, etc. Asking for feedback. So I thought I'd take first stab at that, and then ask the rest of the panel what their thoughts on it are. I know my first club, when attendance was mandatory, you had to have 100% attendance in our club. We started our first YouTube channel, recorded the meetings, and allowed the meeting for makeups. And I think that is still a useful practice, especially if you want to engage members. And a lot of times you get great content from speakers that, you may want to use And I will say that, that broadly with, I mean, as to this entire discussion, really anything you do, you're going to want to have, a reason for doing it, right? I mean, you don't necessarily just want to throw content out there. If you do pick one channel, what is it for? Is it for your members to engage, or is it to recruit potentially new members, or get word out to the general populace as to who or what you're doing as a club? So I mean, you really, and I know Marshall probably is chomping at the bit to weigh in on this because he's Mr. Communications Plan, right? So why don't you take it from there, Marshall?
I think you're spot on. Always start with the end in mind. What is the purpose of that channel before you start doing it? Don't just create a bunch of channels that aren't going to add value for you, your members, or your potential members. And especially if you're creating work for folks, you want to do the very best that you can with every channel that you have. So I agree with Caroline and others that Facebook is probably our primary channel for current members based on the demographics and the way that they skew right now. But if you think that you want to attract other members, go to where the audience is, whether that's Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, Snapchat, I don't know, but make sure you know what the purpose is for adding those channels, and you have a plan in place to support those channels before you do it. Back to the YouTube, I know a lot of clubs out there, not a lot, maybe there are a number of clubs that are still out there doing hybrid meetings, kind of a legacy of COVID. And that's great content for YouTube, so people can kind of get a feel for what's happening at a meeting before they ever attend. Now, make sure that if you put content up on YouTube, that it's good content. We don't want boring content up there and giving people kind of reaffirming what they may think Rotary is. Make sure it's engaging, it's interesting, and it reflects perhaps what they're looking for in an organization. That's all.
Thanks to our team for all your responses on that. We're going to switch gears just a little bit. And again, if you have a question, just raise your hand and we'll be happy to address that topic. But one of the things that came in during registration was if we could address best practices for using lockups, when they should be used, and sort of a little bit of background on the lockup logos.
I'll certainly start with that and just say that the lockups, it's easy to do the lockups on the brand center. It makes it very easy for you to be able to create a lockup for any program that you're doing. The key there is to remember the reason for the lockup is so that there is it's showing the relationship with another organization that is not Rotary, that you have a relationship with, but that has a relationship with that club, and you're treating the Rotary's logo and the other organization's logo with respect in doing that lockup. So it's designed so that it makes it uniform. So anyone who sees that, who sees maybe your club's Rotary logo locked up with an organization that you're doing, say, a parade with or a fundraiser with or something like that, that you're both like-minded in the work that you're doing, but you're not together as one organization. You're two different organizations working together in the community to make the community better. And you know that you see that no matter whether it's here or across the seas, when you see a lockup, you know that's that association that is created. So it creates that uniformity, and that's part of treating all the things that we go through on some of our on our trainings here is how to use the logo and treat the logo so that everyone understands what it is and who it's for, right? So that's not Rotary International, it's the Rotary Club or the Rotary District or the Rotary Zone that's locked up with another organization for a specific event or use.
And Sean, I see you dropped the best practices for the lockups in the chat there. You can go to the brand center and download the lockup. And the nice thing about it is it's really simple to use. You don't even have to log in to use it. You can type in your club name or your district name in the signature line, just like you would if you're creating your club logo on its own. And then you can either upload an image to put in that secondary position that sort of your club logo is on the left hand and the lockup logo is on the right hand. You can upload an image for that, so a partnering organization's actual logo, or you can type in the organization's name. So you have a couple of different options there. You can also use the lockup logo for some Rotary initiatives as well, like the People of Action campaign has a lockup option, and RILA has one. So there's a couple of different Rotary sponsored programs that you can use a lockup logo for as well.
And as we always say, don't Google it and grab two logos and try to make it look like a lockup. It's so simple to go to Brand Center and create it right there. If it's not created in Brand Center, it's not kosher.
Don't Google the Rotary logo. That's at the top of the no-no list. Yeah, Sean has his hand
The
up.
naughty list, I think, this time of year.
Sorry, yeah. So one last thing about lockups, I think is important because we kind of see it every year, continuously happen. So it's worth mentioning. Lockups are not meant to be used when you're having, let's say, joint events, whether it's multiple clubs or whether it's a Rotary or Rotaract club. You're not really meant to use the lockup style to represent all the different club logos in a lockup format for that particular joint event. There are a whole set of different rules that are provided by RI in the Brand Center when it comes to how best to represent multiple club logos. But just keep in mind, it's not using the lockup formula or style.
And
And
if you
some
have
of
any
this-
question, if you have any question about your lockup, you just can go to the website and send us your sample and see whether this works or not.
Yeah, and that brings up another good thought, Caroline, is that we have a really cool application on our website. If you go to elevaterotaryzones3334.org, and one of the resources there you will find is a design template or a design submission, where if you have anything from a social media post to an event flyer to a logo for your next order of Rotary Club shirts, you can upload your graphics and it immediately gets distributed to our team, and we'll respond and let you know if it's brand compliance or if there's opportunities to improve your graphics so that it will be 100% brand compliant. So that's a really great resource, and thank you, Sean, for dropping that into the chat. Check it out, because it's been a really beneficial tool for some clubs and districts who know that they want to invest some funds in ordering some promotional items for their clubs. And before they do that, before you do that, upload that design and let us help coach you on your graphics before you spend any money on it. Because we are asking clubs to go back and look at their resources. If you have brochures that you're handing out or signs out in the public and they have that old blue and gold, really old blue and gold logo or improper branding, then we're asking clubs to go back and make an effort to get their materials to be brand compliant and use that consistent branding with their logos.
And we did have one complaint about this. It was that we respond too fast. So don't think that you have to wait like 3 weeks. Typically, we will turn around, even though we have a whole bunch of people out there. We will turn around and answer your question or help you almost instantly.
So I'm gonna maybe switch gears a little bit. Let me see if anyone has any questions that we haven't touched on yet. This is really the opportunity for you to ask our team, and I'm gonna put you through some awkward silence until we have someone speak up. Marshall's gonna start singing Christmas carols if nobody has a question.
Day of Chris.
So Virginia typed one. Do you offer video editing training? That's a good question. We have done some webinars on how to create good videos. It not necessarily gets into too many details on video editing, but there's some tutorials in our webinar archive and on our website that will help you find tips and tricks for creating good video. We'll also talk about content and how to find good content, and lighting and applications that are helpful. And yeah, Marshall mentioned So Rotary has professional videos as well in their library in the brand center. So if you're looking for video content that you want to use to share on social media, because we know video really captures an audience like nothing else can, Rotary has professional videos as well. But it's something definitely where the December task that we ask you to complete for the Epic Award, we are always looking for suggestions on additional trainings we can offer. So if there are topics that you want to learn more about, for example, video editing or how to create great videos for your events, or any other topic with regards to public image. I mean, we've touched on AI several different times in our webinars this past year. So fill out that December task or just shoot us an email and let us know we want to learn more about XYZ social media videos or anything else under our realm, and we'll try to build it into our webinar training schedule.
A fun thing to remember about videos is we're all unprofessionals. Well, most of us are not media professionals. And so think of it that way. Like in my club, we just took a little 15-second video of a coin drop, and it was very engaging, and we just made it repeat on a loop. That's really simple to do. And so think of how you can use video very simply, very short. Nobody wants to watch a 5-minute video of poor quality videos. So think about simplicity.
I think you insulted Chris Justice there when you said,
oh well,
professionals, because he obviously is the exception in the room.
Oh, he and Marshall.
And Marshall. And don't I'm not going to get into naming anyone. Okay. So we did have a question come up in the chat about the foundation task. I think you're talking about the November task where it's centered around celebrating the foundation month. Thank you for asking that and helping get rid of the awkward silence. That's appreciated. So when you complete any task, not just the foundation month task, but any task, you'll receive an email that it was submitted as soon as the task has been completed online, and we get a notification. Our team gets a notification as well. So it's stored in our database, but you should also get an email stating that your task was complete. If you do not get an email, then your task was not completed. So you can shoot an email or contact our team, and we can get you access to that task that you started, or you can go back to the website and click the link on the Epic Award page and start completing the task. But you don't have to email anyone to let them know it was done unless your club president just wants to know that you've been doing it.
And Joan, there's a specific, if you go to that that link there, the Epic status, you'll see by each month, by each task, you'll see an underline like for November or December that you click on that date on that month, and it takes you to where you would enter your information. So you enter it online there.
Yep. And that's there is a tracking link on our website as well. So if you're not sure if your club has done any of the tasks, you can go to the status page and see how many tasks your club has completed or still has open. And Sean has something to add to that.
Yeah, just a couple of things. So whether it was for Joan or for anyone who completed a task, submitted it, but yet did not receive an email, make sure that you always check your spam or your junk folders, because the sometimes automatic emails that come from us when you have completed a task may end up in your spam and junk folders. So 99.9% chance that you did receive a confirmation email that your task was submitted, but it may go to your spam and junk folder. And if you don't check it on a regular basis, it may get automatically deleted. But as Hamilton said, and as Susan said, worst case scenario, you can always go to Elevate Rotary and you can go to the Epic status page to confirm whether or not your task has been completed. And then last but not least, just keep in mind as well that one of the reasons that you get that automatic email, which will contain your actual submission, is for you to keep it as a record. Because it comes in as kind of like this PDF record, right? You can keep it for yourself. You can keep it for your successor, just to show like what your club did for that year, for that particular task, and to help the persons coming after you in your position as a CPIC or any other role that you may hold. just to give them an idea of what was done last year and what they can kind of aim to do this year at bare minimum. Yeah.
That's a great reminder that, yeah, we have archives going back 3-4 years of all these tasks. And so especially as you start planning for, we're about to get into the process where we start planning for the next Rotary year. And if you guys have identified club public image chairs, you can certainly reach out to us and ask for archives of past content calendars and the audit and the public image plan. We can get that to you. We did just get a question. If you miss completing the monthly task, is there a penalty or do you get a grace period to complete the same?
Yeah, so I mean, we have clubs ask us about that. It's, we sort of evaluate it on a case by case basis. So if you just haven't completed any tasks for the entire year, sometimes we'll just say, well, you can start now and you can earn a certain level of the award. But many clubs often do have reasons, and we really do approach that on an individual basis. And we're not here to be super strict sticklers about this. The whole premise behind this is to get clubs doing more and engaging in public image. And so that's what we want. We don't want to say, if you miss doing a task, absolutely no way, wait till next year. That's never been the case. So just reach out to me or Billy or someone on the team, and we'd be happy to have that conversation and help get you up to speed and caught up with the task. Absolutely.
Susan, would you say that we use the 4-way test on that?
Yes, we use the 4-way test in everything we practice. Absolutely. But I'll give you an example. We had someone contact us after the last call, and he was new to his club and a new public image chair. And so he didn't have the opportunity to complete the task, but he wanted his club to be able to earn the award. And absolutely, I mean, a new public image chair really wanting to get his club engaged. Of course, we're going to allow you the opportunity. Now, we don't open it up and say, get it done whenever. We do have, stipulations where we say, try to get this done and show good faith that you can get it done within a certain timeline and don't wait until, April to get the task done. But yeah, absolutely. We want you to succeed, and we want to recognize as many clubs as we can at the end of the year with this award. Are there any questions about topics we haven't covered tonight, or resources you have been having difficulty find, or challenges you're facing in your club? Thought I saw a hand go up, but I was too slow to. Kay, did you have a question?
Probably just a note of appreciation more than anything, because some of us are not like Chris Justice, a guru in all things technology. So I found in the public image role that I've been in, it's all about learning new things. And I'm so grateful that you have so many easy to follow tutorials, because I would absolutely be beside myself creating some of this stuff. So just wanted to do a big shout out. And I hope that at some point, I'm in an e-club, Global Trekkers, District 7690. And we're really looking forward to trying to make our very first video. We'd like to make some little member intro videos. So not quite sure how to do that yet, but I'm paying attention and heard that you've got some information in there. So that'll be great.
Yeah, that's really excellent. Kay, thank you so much for the comments. We love to hear your feedback and learn, what you're learning, and seeing how our Rotarians and Rotaractors are evolving as they're taking it upon themselves to teach themselves new practices, but also it's great to hear that our team is offering some assistance in that regard as well. So thank you for your comments.
Susan,
And
if I
I'd
could
love
just
to see
add
some of those videos.
Well, if I could just add our submission to the social media competition. I've got to thank your people, because it took me about 100 goes to get that thing done.
But you were diligent, correct? You were.
I didn't give up. It was
We have a
fun.
lot of fun. We have a lot of fun. You know, our team is here to assist, and we're just happy to be able to do so. You know, all of us were newbies too at some point. You know, we didn't always know how to use Facebook or a phone to create a video and a lot of the other technical programs that we've been able to adapt to. Zoom is a perfect example. You know, 10 years ago, not many people were using platforms like that, and now many of us are well versed. So that's something our team tries to do, is be, you know, progressive in our thoughts and training, and try to pass that knowledge and information along to as many clubs as we and districts as we can, to help them be able to utilize these great resources to share the Rotary story. Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Thanks, Susan. I believe you probably had this question queued up, but Irma dropped it in the chat as well. The question being, how do you get your club members to use correct branding when they're steeped in tradition? We've always done it this way. And I think we've all seen, you know, numerous examples of, you know, the legacy branding, you know, being used quite frequently. And front and center, you know, with a lot of clubs, and you know, and used in oftentimes some very creative, unauthorized ways. So, I think that we've got to get away from calling it, you know, the new mark of excellence. That is not the case anymore. I love, you know, Marshall's line where I think he says that, you know, if the mark of excellence was a person, it would be driving at this point, or something of that nature. But to Irma's question, you know, I don't think anybody is saying that all of the older stuff has to be, you know, retired. You know, I mean, there is a place for, you know, legacy branding. I mean, if you've got an old T-shirt and you want to wear your old T-shirt, wear your old T-shirt, right? But the, you know, the front-facing things and the newer, you know, anything new that you publish should be brand compliant. You know, I think that goes without saying. You know, so it really is incumbent upon the leaders to, you know, to make sure that's the case. I mean, when, you know, when we're doing a new social media page, or we're doing, you know, the new letterhead, or, you know, any of those things, then the, you know, the most recent branding should be used. And Marshall's got his hand up, and I know he is quite opinionated on this. So, Marshall.
Yeah, I'm not opinionated at all. No, I mean, seriously, you know, I get people love the traditions of Rotary, and I love the traditions of Rotary, but we need to be standardized so that we always have a very consistent outward display of the Rotary brand. And I think sometimes people just want to lock in on that logo, the old blue and yellow logo, because that's the one that they've always had. But if they're so steeped in tradition, why don't they want the old wagon wheel from the 20s, or, you know, any of those logos? If it's all about tradition, why is it just that blue and yellow? Well, that's the one that they've always had, or that's the one that was around when they joined Rotary. But, you know, if we're going to remain relevant in the world, we have to continue to evolve and change. And part of that is our branding. And in order for us to be effective and make sure that Rotary is around 50 years from now, 100 years from now, is for all of us to use that branding consistently. I drive past, you know, I go into little towns and I see that old blue and yellow Rotary wheel on the sign as you go in. And usually it's worn, it's faded, it's chipped, it looks horrible. And I think about, wow, is that how we really want to demonstrate the Rotary brand, is using that old logo looking like that? And so I think that we need to make sure that we express to people, yes, we want to respect and honor those traditions because that's why we love Rotary. But at the same time, we want to make sure Rotary is going to be here 50 years from now. And we need to make sure that we're consistent in everything we do. There we go. I see you, Kay.
I also think we are trying to make this really, really easy for you guys to get the proper branding when you go to the toolbox. And I'm going to put in the link in a moment. You just click the button and you can get the logos totally made the way they're supposed to be, with your name, etc. And download it without the background as a JPEG file or PNG file or an EPS file for printing. It's all available. So It's really much more complicated to find an old logo on Google than getting the new logo on the brand center. At least that's my opinion.
Has anyone else experienced this in their club where you have, maybe a club leader who doesn't want to conform and use the proper branding, or, they are the traditionalist? And how have you sort of dealt with that?
I know for me, it's the conversation often is around, how would they handle their brand or their logo in their business or organization that they often work for, right? Many of us work for, whether it's a small or large organization, we have, our own branding that we use, and certainly we don't. It would not be good for business to use a bunch of different versions of our logo or brand for our businesses or organizations. So it's the same thing with Rotary, to have that same unified brand, look, image, and what we're trying to get across is the same philosophy that any of us would take in a business or organization that we're a part of other than Rotary. So it's not that we want to force something down anyone's throat or anything like that. It's a matter of creating consistency so that when people see the logo, the Rotary brand, that they know who we are and what we're about. And so that's why that's why I try to impart that it's so important.
Yeah, I will absolutely agree with that. And thank you everyone for chiming in there. We do have, I think every year, gosh, Marshall, for the past 4 or 5 years, we've done a branding webinar and talked about the resources on the Brand Center. And we have Liz from RI come on, and Liz Chom, who's our brand specialist, and she talks about the importance of the Rotary brand and how it protects our really rich history, and it just adds so much more value to our organization. So if you're not comfortable, presenting that to the club, you can always share some of the segments that where Liz comes on and say, this is from RI, this is, their in-depth explanation about why our club really should be using proper branding and how it benefits our club. It's not just someone from RI or our team saying, you have to do this with a heavy fist, but it is showing the benefit and explaining the benefit to the clubs by having that brand identity. And I'll ask Sean to chime in with something, his comments, and then we can maybe touch on any other last questions before.
Sure thing. I'll be really quick. I'm just thinking of it from a practical standpoint, right? For the last how many ever years, clubs and districts and members have been asked to start using the updated version of the logo, and you end up in a situation where you still have clubs using the outdated version of the logo, and yet we will have whether it's through the zone or through the district or through RI itself, you'll have persons saying this is why you should be using the correct version of the logo. This is why these are the benefits. But from a practical standpoint, a lot of times that message only gets to public image chairs, right? It may not get to club presidents. It may not get to directors in your club. It may not get to chairpersons. And you end up in a club, especially, clubs that have a lot of activities, have a lot of projects going on, where different committees in that club are responsible for generating their own graphics. And that's usually when you'll find, the old logo or the out-of-date logo being applied. It's because that's what they know and that's what they apply. So a way to kind of mitigate that problem, which is internal to clubs that, may have the club public image chair knowing what the right thing to do is, but other members of the club kind of reverting to the old logo. A good way to mitigate that is at the very beginning of every year and throughout the year, make sure that you have the buy-in and support of your president, of your board, of your chairpersons in your club. Make sure that they understand that they need to be using the current version of the logo. Make sure that they at least have access and know about what's available through the brand center. Make them, inform them and make them kind of self-reliant on the correct thing to do. so that it's not just you as the club public image chair and you alone that hold this responsibility, right? As we constantly say, every year, it's everyone that's responsible for public image in Rotary, not just the public image chair.
It is not AI's responsibility, though. I did see a comment asking about policies and procedures with regards to AI, and Rotary does not have anything official when it comes to a policy on AI and branding. However, it is not recommended. We do not recommend that you use, actually, we recommend that you do not use AI to generate any graphics when it comes to the logo. So don't have images created or video created around the Rotary brand, because it is, generally speaking, not brand compliant. And that's, I know it's a very broad statement, but it is because AI is evolving so quickly. We don't have anything, in writing as far as a policy is concerned. But we do have a couple of recorded webinars that touch on AI and some of the applications you can look into utilizing.
And Susan, it's 6:45. Actually, it's 6:47.
So yeah, we're gonna just say thank you again for all of your questions and comments, especially for those questions that were asked tonight. We appreciate that. And Billy has some closing remarks that she's going to hop into. Were you going to share your screen for that, Billy? Or
No, I'm going to go ahead and use our slides, and that way we can rapidly get these folks on their way.
Okay, I will. I think I have mine open here. So the first thing that I know while I pull my slides up was going to be on the EPIC Award. We just wanted to remind you that there are a couple of deadlines coming up. The 31st of this month is the deadline to complete the November task. So go ahead and check your progress on that and get that submitted. And then December, we've asked for your feedback. As I mentioned earlier at the beginning of this session, we want to know what has been helpful for you that our team has offered, and anything that we can help produce to, continue to assist you in your public image efforts. And then in January, we're going to ask you to look at some of the courses in the Rotary Brand Center and, the Learning Center, and some resources in the Brand Center. So that task is open, so you can go online and start working on January. One of the important things about the EPIC Award is it's not just for public image chairs to complete. That's just our target audience, but anyone in the club can complete these tasks if they don't have a public image chair. But we really want to know who your public image chairs are so that we can send this information out to the right people and send these communications out to the right people. So Billy wanted to touch briefly on how you should be identifying your Rotary public image chairs.
And I had hoped that we had more governor-elects here, but for those of you, it's more of an awareness. Do not, I am not encouraging you to go into DAC-DB and start changing things. Talk to your district governor and your district governor-elect and or your DCO before any changes are made. You would go to the district, if you're the DPIC, to see if you're in there for next year. Can you advance, or can I advance? And look for the DLT, that's District Leadership Team. And also at the top, make sure that you're in next year, and move on. Inside the DLT, you'll see next year's officers, if anybody has done something for that. If they haven't, you might encourage them to go ahead and get started. If you're supposed to be the DPIC for next year, make sure that you're in there. Notice on the first row, we have Julie West, which is our district public image chair for next year. Move ahead, Susan. That comes from members and positions. You see the tab, and then I would go down and select the pencil next to Julie and make sure that it says District Public Image Chair DPIC. Now, some of your districts call it a District Public Image Chair. Some of it call them Public Relations. Each district has its own naming conventions, but they all should say DPIC. And that way, if it's in the district leadership team labeled as DPIC, it will go to Zone 33 so that we can send you updates. And that's how we communicate with you. And then again, for those of you that are DPICs and want to make sure you have public image chairs, and that is a committee, you again go to the committees, district committees, and change the year to 25, 26. That's the screen at the top. Can you go back just for a second? And then the next thing you do is search right up there at the top for PIC, because sometimes the district has put it in and you can't find it. It's hidden. So search for a PIC, and you notice that I did not have it, so I created it. I had a district public image chair. So the next piece of that is what it should look like if you create the committee. And again, don't create committees without going to your governor and your DCO. The role key should be PIC, and the org year should be 2025-26, and move on. And once you create it, you click that blue rebuild, and it will bring everybody forward that has a public image chair listed already. Notice in my district, we only have 4 for next year, but that's not bad. And go ahead. And then that means that you can view it and go to missing clubs. It's right up there at the top. And these are all the clubs that have no public image chair. And then you can P-mail, and P-mail is at the top right. So all of those clubs we could P-mail, and the district public image chair, if that's appropriate, or the governor can say, hey, President so-and-so, I noticed that you don't have a public image chair. I bet you do. Would you please put it in DACDB? So it's just a friendly reminder to get these in. And then it gives you the opportunity as the DPIC to P-mail these folks with, and that's what it'll look like for P-mail. You can pick who you're going to send it to, and then you've all seen the P-mail. So I'm out of that. So if you have any problems with that, or if you'd like me to work with your district governor or DCO, I'd be glad to help you. Remember that we have new templates. These are awesome. They have been asked for a couple of years now. And these are on elevaterotary.org. You can have monthly themes, special days, and promotions. And you simply put your club logo in at the bottom right and put it out there on Facebook. You also have resources at Elevate Rotary Zones. We have brand design review that we talked about already. There's a great blog on PI Matters, different topics on that, webinar archive, and events. There's actually a calendar out there that you can bring forward to your calendar, and then you won't miss anything. Rotary resources, these are great. If you've not gone to the Learning Center, you need to go and look up the public image learning tools. Brand Center, we've talked a lot about. If it's not in Brand Center, don't use it. And Service Project Center is brand new in Rotary.org near your goals, and it replaces the old service. So take an opportunity to look at that Service Project Center. That's where you put your pictures and your projects that you have going on.
And you can actually register for this. I believe Caroline and Sean worked to get this webinar registration open. So when you're done with AMA tonight, you can hop on and register for that January webinar.
It's open right now.
Open right now.
You won't miss it. Now I want to welcome, and she's not on the call tonight. She had a hockey game with her son, but Ashley Waters is going to be my replacement starting July 1. And so she's starting to come on board. She'll be here for 3 years, and she'll be working with Susan. So I am welcoming her with open arms. And then we want to say congratulations, because our beloved past public image chair for 34 has now become the director-elect of Rotary International for 2026-28. And we are so excited. Yay, Marshall!
I'm going to leave it up there just for a minute longer to embarrass them.
Thank you.
Well deserved.
We're so happy. We're so
proud.
congratulations to you.
So Zone 34 has their district leadership training already on the books. You can register now, April 5th through 6th. And then Zone 33 is in May, and it's in Richmond. And it's not on DACDB yet to register, but it should be at the beginning of the year. So watch for those. If you're a district public image chair or on that team, you may want to hit these great events.
And that's all of our content. We're wrapping up early tonight. Unless anyone has last minute questions, we'd be happy to touch on, but I think I've kind of beat that horse, so. Just
We'll give you back 4 minutes in your day.
remember that we are here and willing to assist you with any challenges you have, or if you just can't find something on the Brand Center or need assistance in any way, just let us know. And if you have questions on the Epic Award that you want to talk to us about one-on-one offline, we'd be happy to help you get your club caught up. Let us know. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
For the holidays, we'll see you in 2025.
Take care, everyone.